Hey guys, it's Jason with your Hopium Free Crypto channel. Today we are interviewing the Chief Business Development Officer of GeoDB, and we have a lot of questions for him to get through so that we can understand the project along the way and basically figure out whether this is something that we want to be investing in or not. So I've got a lot of difficult questions plus a lot of the good stuff. We're not going to go easy on him, but we also want to find out all the details. So I'll cross over to Alex just to introduce himself and the projects that we're going to talk about. Alex, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for hosting us. So, well, first of all, myself, I'm, Jason said, Chief Business Development Officer in GeoDB. And GeoDB is, it was a funny story because recently it was also like I was participating in a podcast and they said, well, what is GeoDB? And I start saying, like what it is now. So it's like, data exchange ecosystem, a decentralized data exchange ecosystem, focus mostly on user generated data, the data which we, generate with our devices. And I started to name the components and I completely forgot to say about the marketplace. Though initially, like the first, vision of GeoDB was, okay, this should be like a decentralized data marketplace. But later on, when we started to realize how the blockchain works and that like the whole point is about cross connectivity and openness, so now we change it a little bit and now it's like not just a marketplace but it's something like more open, which enables you to connect to other systems. But the whole like mission, the main mission that we have within the company is to bring kind of like that fairness into the market of like getting data from the users, meaning to reward users directly for the data they generate. Like, for example, if you know that with your phone, with a lot of applications you're using, you're constantly streaming a lot of data. And very often those companies, they're able to monetize that data, like to sell it or, like get different kind of benefits. And usually like everything that the users get is just, kind of like extra services from the applications. But in fact, like the data market is huge. That it's like a multi-hundred billion market. I mean, some estimations say it's gonna be like closer to 1 trillion market. Like currently, it's already more than 200, like billion global market. And like so far, we don't see really, like users getting any like direct value out of it. So that's why we're building, like this peer-to-peer system, which gets data from the users and then allows it to stream to different marketplaces like oracles, like off-chain, on-chain, and so on.
So essentially, it's a data place. We actively and we willingly give over our data to GeoDB, to whatever apps they are. This is all anonymous, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And then you're basically rewarded for giving over that data.
That's it. Yeah. It's always anonymous because what we do and which is very like clear and transparent for the companies and applications which we suggest to join GeoDB. So basically how it works, like we have our proprietary applications like Geocache, we have more than 200,000 users all over the world, where you basically share your location data, you get rewarded. But this was more, like our pilot project, like just to try the things to bring the community. But what we're aiming to do and what we're doing right now, for example, like in a couple of weeks, we're launching another application, which is already not completely ours, but more, like brought by our partners. So the aim is that those companies who have their own applications, we're telling them, okay, guys, look, join, like GeoDB, basically as our, like ecosystem through SDK. And then your users will be rewarded for the data that we're streaming. And the way we're streaming it is that we never touch your personal data. So we never see it. We just, we are acquiring only the data which is already like anonymized. So basically your behavioral data, but we don't see who you are, your contact details or something like that.
And that's stored in a cloud somewhere or on the GeoDB mainnet, which we'll get to.
So yeah, right now, I mean, we're storing data in a quite, like a centralized way. So basically, like we just accumulate the data and we store it. But what we're doing right now within the development, so we'll talk later, because one of the recent products that we have launched, because GeoDB is like the main brand name, it's a company. We have, for example, our applications, we have our SDK, we're doing a marketplace, and we have open data interoperable network, which is ODIN. And this is more, like the protocol we will be operating on, which also, like intends to become a DAO, which will be governed by our current like users and ecosystem, participants. And what we're doing, like technically wise, is also to make the data storage also, like decentralized, and that the community will be the one, who have the control over the data. But it's not very easy technically, because now there are a lot of like pilots, hype projects that like decentralized things. But when you really start doing that, and with that like big mass and volumes of data we have, that's kind of like a challenging thing, man. But we're going there.
It sounds like a lot, because we've got GeoDB and now you just brought up ODIN. So are you the Chief Business Development Officer for both, or is there a separate team for ODIN?
Well, me, yes, for both, because basically, like business-wise, we're moving it with the same team. Though like technically, it's like separated. So we have like now over, I think maybe over around 30 engineers. We have like in-house, and we have several like external guys with whom we work for some of the specific like topics where we are need some kind of like assistance. And so we have like quite a big, like fully committed team working on both of those initiatives.
All right, and they cross over between both ODIN and GeoDB.
No, of course, yeah, of course, because then like GeoDB will be working in the ODIN like protocol. I mean, so it's like for us, it's not separate. For us, it's like one company. We just like have different products. For example, we have like mobile team. Maybe it doesn't sound like so loud, because for the development of mobile applications, you don't have your own token like the ODIN protocol has, because ODIN by its nature has its own token. Sorry, ODIN, the protocol by its nature has its own token. But I mean, for us, it's kind of like same things. We have like for example, the mobile team, which is I think also like one of the biggest one they have. So for us, it's kind of like the verticals within the companies.
GeoDB and ODIN. So we got GeoDB is captures the data. It's the decentralized piece of getting the data anonymously to be able to reward people in the Geo token. ODIN is where the data is going to be stored, because it's the oracle, or it's going to be used to be able to transmit the data to other businesses that want to buy it.
Yes, more like transmitted. Yeah. So so basically how ODIN works is that it's a data oracle. So as you said correctly, like to stream it to the smart contracts, like development. So mostly like what we do like differently from guys like, for example, Chainlink, or actually our partners, because we also integrated with Chainlink. Because as I mentioned before, we're now completely like for the openness. But what we do is like specifically within the data validation process and other like those pipelines of we have, we tailor it completely for the use cases of like integrating with mobile apps and user generated data. So far we're like very like focused on that use case.
Why couldn't we just use Chainlink, and why does there have to be ODIN? Because ODIN is from what I read was a fork of Band protocol.
Yeah, that's true. No. Yeah.
Why couldn't we just use Band, or just use Chainlink, or something else that's already there? Why create something new?
Well, I mean, again, like it will start making like complete sense where everything is working. I mean, for example, that like our also like big friends and partners like Ocean. I'll give you an example because it's a project which everyone knows. I mean, Ocean is a fork of Ethereum, like many other protocols. I mean, technically the validation process, etc., the main architecture is like Ethereum based. But what is Ocean? Why is different? Because if I want to launch a data marketplace and if I want to do data exchange transactions, I mean, it's just more convenient. I have, like a lot of tools there done for that. I need to do like less development. If I'm, for example, like the smart contract developer, I'm looking for for the user generated data. I have like the validation process is specifically, like tailored for that process. So it's more about, like user experience for the like specific use case, I would say.
Am I going to notice the user experience as someone who would use the product if it's ODIN or if it was Band? I'd notice the difference.
Well, the users here, I mean, in the case of the protocol, the users are the applications basically who are like streaming, kind of like selling the data to us, and the companies who are buying the data. So basically, like again, like the companies who are buying the data, it can be traditional data market companies. It can be like smart contract like developers. But for example, you see like again, in the end, that's like thinking about the competition. What we see right now, and what I love a lot, about the blockchain industry is that, I mean, in the end, we have our economics, like tokenomics within like change. So we
In what?
reward with well,
Sorry.
whatever. For example, in GDP, we have
Okay.
like
Okay.
tokenomics, so our economics. So in the end, I mean, for us, it's important to make that transactions being happen, like within our like part of the pipeline, let's say. But then, like for us, it really doesn't matter whether, for example, like the client will want to use like our oracles, or maybe there are like existing, developments going on in Chainlink. For example, with Chainlink, we did some like proof of concept integration. So we did a partnership, and we did like some technical advancements. So basically, technically, with through Chainlink, you also will be able to stream the data which has been gathered, like in GeoTP. So that's what like what is the cool thing about the blockchain ecosystem, because in then like it starts making sense when it's all about like cross connected to each other. Or for example, for what we're doing now, the integration with Ocean is the same. That basically everyone who will want to build a marketplace on Ocean will be able to sell the data which has been generated in any of the GeoDB applications. That's why I said, telling you in the beginning, I now start forgetting sometimes that we also built our own marketplace. We even were thinking whether to build it or not, because does it really like, make sense to build your own product? Where already, like there are so cool, like players who have, like some traction with selling data. And so, but and then we decided, okay, we're gonna do both.
Do you think that's then spreading everything too thin for a company that's just starting out, trying to do way too many things? Like, do you have any concerns about that?
Well, you mean us? I mean,
Yeah.
we first of all, we started in 2018, summer 2018, and it was initially like, okay, like we're gonna do a marketplace, and we're gonna do our own application for the location data. Okay, then we did like the application. We started to do a marketplace, so we started to see, like, okay, that's how the industry is moving. That's what the industry needs. So we started to say, okay, well, it should be not only our application, but it should be like also allowing other applications to join. So we started to work on that part. And then we think that this was that to say, okay, maybe we should not only offer it to our marketplace, but then to other like marketplaces too. There should be some easy way to integrate. And we say, wow, look, and then look at what is another demand that blockchain developers now they need to stream smart contracts with different, like data, and especially like data which is, like generated by our as users from different devices. We say, okay, what would be a good solution for that? So it has been like, an evolving process. It never has been that we decide, okay, let's do like tons of things, and we're like doing them, like that. It's really like always going, like step by step, learning curve, and like evolvement. So we actually are more, now I think we're more around like 4 years already on the market. So it's not that we just started these things.
Yeah, I know you've been around a while now. And I think that was when I first was speaking to your team. I was trying to figure out what is it that you do. And there was something new that kept coming. So I understand why something has to come on, because as you grow and evolve, you realize that, there's another piece of the whole ecosystem that needs to be brought in. But do you think that might start to wear away at all of the resources that you have, and just take too much time by bringing on so many different things? Like, what is that central thing that GeoDB, like if we talk to someone about GeoDB, is it just they know this is a data thing and they get the app and you're going to get rewards for sharing your data?
Yeah, and then like it's about simplifying this, like kind of like value process, which so simplifying the whole process of like exchanging data, extracting data. That even it sounds like all like very simple. Oh, okay, you take the app, you reward the data, but when we have been talking to many like applications and who have the data, they very often say like, yes, we would be happy to monetize it, but we don't have the tools for this. And when they go to traditional,
Right.
like data companies, they say like, okay, they like they want to connect to us, but really like it's in a very like direct way, or they want us to anonymize the data and to work on that. We're not like data team. We're just application who like does whatever. So like there was like this problem of like lacking the tools. So in the end, like all this ecosystem we're doing, it sounds complex, but in the end the goal is to simplify this process, that the apps can like stream the data apps are rewarded, users are rewarded, and the data consumer has like a peer-to-peer, like way very transparent, seeing where the data is coming from, all the timestamps, etc. What's the quality of the data, and like a convenient interface to buy the data, and also like the other data consumers in other products in the blockchain world will also be able to consume your data. So that's, I would say, like in general.
It's starting to come together why you've had to add these extra pieces, because when you've got what you need from the market to be able to sell it on, those guys are needing extra, I don't know, services in order to be able to use the information. Okay.
Exactly. It's even like your question. You said, okay, how you store data right now? And I'm like, yeah, I'm very transparent with you. Now we store it like in centralized
Centralized.
like clouds, basically. Yeah, but because it's like again evolving process. You have this vision. Okay, cool. You got the data with the application. Okay, and then like what? So now I store data. Now then you need to find the ways, like to stream that afterwards without breaking, like the blockchain idea, because one of the values that buyers need is to see, where the data is coming from. I mean, because very like seriously, when you're now buying the location data, you just very often buy like an Excel file basically, without really like. Well, when you buy it from telco operators, for example, I mean, of course, they're reliable big names and like okay, you trust them. But for example, there are a lot of like market intelligence companies who are like in fact work as intermediaries. They put additional like prices. You really don't know how true is the data, how complete is the data set, and all those kind of things.
So that kind of then leads on to, say, competitors. Like, why couldn't just a big company do exactly what you're doing? Google's got a huge network. Apple's got a huge network. Everything in the tech industry has a huge network. Uber, Airbnb. Like, why couldn't they just take all the data or just implement one piece of the app into their own apps and then just do the same thing?
That like I don't know, like I mean, it's a very philosophical question to every startup why Google is not doing the same, and like maybe they're like investigating doing something the same. Like I really don't know, but what I can tell you is that for example, there have been models which also work quite well with the same business logics. For example, there are like applications on the market which are not running on blockchain, but which also reward like users for the data. For example, I can even name some of them. Like one is called um, Sweat something, like Sweat app or something like that. Sweatcoin, and it's not a blockchain one. It's like I think a UK startup, like quite successful one. So they do the same. They say, okay, you move, but we give you like different sorts of presents. So they basically you move, they get the data, then they monetize it, and then they give you some. I don't know. If you move like crazy, maybe 1 year, they give you
I
like
think
an
I've seen
iPhone or
this. Yeah.
something or some. Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're not like on blockchain. I mean, it's also like it's a good model. So companies are doing things like that.
I think they got
The
some of
only
those sort
thing
of
is that
things in the. Sorry to cut you off. In the cities, I was talking to some other friends, and they were saying you can get free Wi-Fi in the city, but to use the free Wi-Fi,
things like that.
they're going to
Yeah,
track what you're doing and then obviously sell that
yeah,
on. Yeah.
yeah.
So this
So it,
model's
so
out
so
there.
it's all. Yeah, it's also good. These models are out there. So for us, we just like found the advantage of blockchain because it adds like kind of like extra validation in the quality of data, and it gives you more opportunity to like openly connect, start bringing other applications to your ecosystem. So that's what we're doing. We're creating like a network, like for data exchange, not just an application which gathers data and then like sells it to someone.
So in the case of going back to the competitors, say Google, Apple, Uber, Airbnb, there's nothing
No,
stopping them to doing this, and it could just wipe your business model out.
well, I mean, yeah, I mean, like it never. I think that something stops them from doing that. I mean, because in the end, well, if you also think in the way, well, wow, Google is like accumulating and centralizing a lot of data and using it for their own benefits. Yes, but I mean, if they see like as a potential, okay, on the market to build, like a new business model, allowing to do things like that, yeah, I think potentially they can do it. I'm just not sure that they have, like they are in that business, but
Right. They would
I,
get the information and keep it for themselves, whereas your model is to get the information and then sell it on to any businesses who are willing to pay for it.
yeah, also you see it's a bit of like, I mean, still it's like we were a blockchain network. So I mean our economy is based on the like on the crypto economics, how we reward like upfront, with the token, etc. I mean, it's also kind of like specifics that, you know, like, you know, still that many companies are very careful. They maybe they're willing, they like blockchain, but they cannot, like, still due to regulations or other things, like afford to their like boards and directors and previous investors, they cannot just say, okay, now we go in crypto. So that's maybe another
Yeah.
obstacle.
You said you were working on this for some time. So we've got GeoDB's been out there for a while. ODIN's just come about. We wanted to like just get through, like understand the main nets as well. But something I was interested in is how far along in the development is this? We've been going for so many years already. When does it come to market, and you know, when is it finished as such to be able to bring an income in?
Okay. Yeah, so we started, let's say, like the SNAD at 2018. Well, I actually started the development also, I think, late summer, maybe September 2018, where we started the development. In 2019 spring, Geocache appeared, like, well, more in the market side. Before it was like, you know, pilot and test things. And then now ODIN, for example, the test net is already running. So we have like some of our community members, you know, already like doing the test. Like a lot of things, of course, appear all the time. But according so far, we're going according to the roadmap, and ODIN is going to be launched like the full operational mainnet of the protocol by the end of the year. Well, hopefully even, you know, like the first VDP 1.0 maybe the end of autumn, like November.
ODIN also, mainnet by the end of the year.
Yes, and then what you also were mentioning is that the mainnet of GeoDB basically means that before, while you were in the application, you were receiving like testnet tokens. So it was like Ethereum testnet tokens. So and you had a chance to convert them into mainnet tokens, but you had to do it like manually. While now, for example, like we recently finally switched, and now you are receiving like the real, you know, like GeoDB tokens, which are tradable. So the real, you know, like the mainnet tokens. I mean, there is still like, you know, like you receive them in the application, still need to bridge them, because now it's done on a Binance smart chain, you know, like also on a side chain. So you still need to bridge them to kind of like the mainnet of Binance or Ethereum. We have bridges for both, but that was the point of launching the GeoDB mainnet.
Yeah, on that, people can purchase them on PancakeSwap and anything else on the Binance Smart Chain. Where else? Like what other exchanges are currently
we also are being traded on Bitforex.
Bitforex, okay. That's just for the GEO token.
It's for the GEO token, yeah. So GEO token is on Bitforex, and also, you know, like initially when we were launching, you know, like basically like the token, because we didn't launch the token immediately. We launched the token, if I remember correctly, in the 2019, in the end of 2019. I think like September it was. And, you know, like the market in Europe was, you know, like quite really in the stagnation at that period. And we started to look
2019 was pretty quiet until we got that big run up, and then it just died again.
Yeah, but what we did, we started to build, you know, our community in Asia. So we're also listed, you know, in such exchanges as like B1, for example, like CT. We don't know them here too much, but for example, like in China, that was, you know, like there were fast growing exchanges with good community, and it gave us, you know, like certain push on the Asian market.
Okay, so the main ones that I guess most people will be able to find them on is something that's Binance Smart Chain related, or anything on the Ethereum network.
Yeah, of course, like on the
Uniswap.
Uniswap.
Okay.
Yeah, Uniswap pool, you have it there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a liquidity pool.
You have on Uniswap, you have like both GeoDB. In Uniswap you have like GeoDB, but on Pancake you have like GeoDB, the GEO coin, and also the ODIN. ODIN is only on Pancake so far, because ODIN was launched like really recently. So we did like a fair launch with the pool.
Oh, so you got the liquidity pool on Binance Smart Chain.
Yeah, we got liquidity pool in Binance Smart Chain and PancakeSwap, but like
is that locked over there? Is that locked, or someone can?
Locked.
Yeah.
Always locked, so you can see like we could go to like the Telegram. They're like in the pin messages, or whatever, like you see that there is like we put all the links with the contracts, yeah, all the team tokens and all the like DAO tokens, which will be later on, like to be used by the community to push the project forward. All is locked so far before the mainnet is launched.
All right, so all the details are online because I was going to ask you about tokenomics and that sort of stuff. When GEO was launched, do you want to run through the tokenomics just to give the guys who are listening a bit of an update of the tokenomics for GEO and also for ODIN? How much is out there, what's locked, how much does the team have, market caps now?
In market caps, I need to
go with the tokenomics first, and we'll look at the market caps. It always changes.
You check the market cap, okay? So the tokenomics, so that it's my morning time. I didn't check it yet. So
no, that's fine. The tokenomics is more important.
Yeah. So in GEO2P, we initially had like 1 billion of tokens. Like supposed to be like the maximum supply. But then, when we launched the token first on the exchange and like little by little, the price started to grow. And at some point we just realized that, like we have like too many tokens, like allocated for the reward pool. So we decided to burn a big part of them. So we burned 650 million out of supposed 1 billion tokens. And now the maximum total supply is 350 million. Out of which 50 million GEOs are for the reward part, rewarding data, the data generators like the users. But again, like then later on, what the transactions are getting back, because people are getting the GEOs, like back to us when you have like the data acquisition. So we can, use them again as the working capital. Yeah. And then out of them,
that all forms part of your release schedule. So there's 350 at the moment. I see there's an available supply of about 27 million, and then
27 is what is now in circulation. Yeah.
So what's floating? So
I'll explain. I'll explain you that part too. So basically, like what we have now is that 35 million is reserved for team and like internal development, some partnerships we do sometimes, and that kind of things, which is like 10% of the maximum supply now. And then like all the rest is basically like, which is 265, I think, is for like investors, which like have been like investing before in GEO2P, because in GEO2P we had already several rounds. We raised slightly more than $5 million. And what we did is, and still, still the majority of the tokens, as you see, they're still locked. So they're not locked by the smart contracts, but they're locked by the, basically like quite also powerful thing, because we did all the fundraising from a company that we have in UK, the GEO2P, and we did like a mix of, because basically GEO2P is a company which is like, getting their percentage in the form of revenue, just in crypto, but it's like a profit-focused company. So for example, ODIN is like a protocol. It's like, like a non-profit DAO based. While for example, GEO2P is a profit-based company. So we have investors who own a part of the company. And also they got tokens basically as a free kind of like bonus formally. And actually, it's like a cool use case, because we were the first, I think, European company who did, kind of like fundraising using the like traditional crowdfunding platforms, super highly regulated. So we did like, we used in UK, we used Seeders, and we used Crowdcube. They consider two like the largest, crowdfunding platforms in Europe. And we did like several, I think in total 3 rounds over there. And in fact, like, because then it doesn't contradict, because when you give things for free, it's kind of like legal. You don't need to be like compliant with crypto, etc. So we were offering people, okay, you get shares and we give you token as a bonus. But in fact, we had a lot of like crypto investors coming, and they liked it because like, wow, it's like, like UK platform, everything is very legal, KYC. And then we had like the agreements of the basically lockout. The lockout of the tokens is connected to the launch of the mainnet of GEO2P, which happened recently. So some months after, there will be like, small lockout periods, which also dependent on the traffic we have in the system, you know, like also to prevent the potential dump of the coin.
So they're not technically locked up in a smart contract, the tokens that have gone to the investors. When are they released?
Yeah, you see, you see, because we had in the agreement. But the cool thing is that the agreements that we did, they were like also verified by these guys, you know, by the crowdfunding platforms, which are like a very trusted intermediary. We're speaking about blockchain, but here it's cool, you know, to have an intermediary, in fact. And
So
and the thing is, like,
it's locked up with an intermediary.
well, it's not like that they locked it up physically, but I mean, they were one of the ones who processed the deal. So they're kind of, you know, like also, they will be like very push. We will have problems with them if we do something wrong with the investors, you know.
Yeah.
So
the tokens are with the intermediary. The investors can't get the tokens. If they want them, they have to ask you.
Intermediary in terms of like, in terms of like legal process and the process itself. I mean, of course, we get the tokens, so we allocate them directly. But according to the agreements which we committed to execute to this intermediary, which was a platform, and the agreements were saying that the first transfers start 3 months after the launch of the mainnet, which is basically, so in 3 months we'll have like a small, very first very little, you know, like tranche, and then they go like with the time, little by little, you know, like also with the growth of the network. So that's why, you know, like, I mean, you cannot really put in the smart contract thing like this. Okay, I do it when my mainnet launches, etc. And that's why, you know, like, it was good that an investors liked it, because it's not just us, a company who says like, okay, guys, look, that's how we do it. But we also use, you know, like reputable platforms doing that. So they also put like their name, you know, like to follow those kind of like conditions that we agreed with investors. So that was like, that was a good option for both sides.
Okay, so there will be something coming out. Mainnet, you said GEO's just launched in the last month or two, the last few weeks, days.
Well, GEO has
recent.
been, in the last, very recently. So now our users start getting like the real GEOs.
Yeah, but for the investors, it was the mainnet. The mainnet launched a few days ago or a few weeks ago. Sorry.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. That's it.
So then 3 months from that point, they will be able to start getting a release of those GEO tokens, and then if and hopefully when the ecosystem continues to grow, then they'll be able to continue to sell off some of their investment.
Yeah.
So, I guess we need it to grow for them. They need it to grow as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the challenge, you know, like the challenge and the issue for every project, because at some point you need to start giving, you know, like the tokens to your early investors. Of course, the ones who got like the most benefit, the patient believers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they got it off the ground.
Believers of the project. Yeah. And of course, like the goal that you should have by that is like, you know, start having already, you know, like transactions, people, you know, like something, you know, like holding your tokens, so that you're already more powerful and healthy, you know, like, and you
robust, ready for when this comes through.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so that's I guess from an investor point of view, maybe someone who's watching the channel, it's something they need to be aware of. So, you know, that could be coming up in the next few months. It's not confirmed that they will sell, but they have a release at that time. I guess it depends what they want to do. The market cap I looked up was only 7.1 million, so it's not huge. What was the investment price that they bought in at? Can you say?
Yes, no, of course I can say.
Around 5 million, I think you said.
Yeah, the total money raised was 5 million. But for example, the early investors were receiving the tokens at the price, which I think was like, I think 7 cents. Then it started to grow.
But what was the value? What were they investing at, the value of the company? Like, how much was the company valued at when they were investing? Was it a 10 million company that they were buying into? Was it a 5 mil?
In the valuation of the company, the valuation of the company was we started with 10 million We
10
started with
million.
10 million initially, the
All
first
right.
round.
So
Yeah, so
the
because
first round was,
the first round we did was 1.5 million. Yeah, and then they started, and then they got like the tokens as a bonus, basically.
yeah, you raised 1.5 million at a valuation of 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's it.
the current market cap's at 7 million. They might want to get out at a loss, or they might want to hold on to get a bigger gain. Just to
Yeah,
explain it to guys that are watching. Yeah. Yeah. So, I guess they've held in this long. They've got some faith in it. There's a lot of growing going on. GeoDB's been producing what they said they've been producing according to the roadmaps. And now we've also got ODIN as well. So that's the sort of thing, I guess, as an investor, if you've been looking at this for the last few years, it's probably, you might want to be holding on for that next stage. I'm not sure. I'm just, thinking out loud here.
yeah. No. Yeah, but of course, like good and fair points. Well, the cool thing is that like what we liked, what we did in GeoDB is that what we have noticed is that the mentality of investors who invest in equity is like, even if they invest in crypto, it's still like completely different, because these are people who used to think like long term. Because usually when you invest in equity of the company, you cannot like exit like in 6 months or in 2 months, how
Sure.
we used to do like in crypto. So that's why like we know like our community very well, and we talk with, I think, almost to all of these guys we spoke personally. And well, not all of them, of course. Now we have like more than 2,500 investors, but the key ones, the main ones, like,
Sure.
of course, we know them all personally. And I mean, they're like really, really focused on a very like long term, like holding, and we're really not worried for that. But of course, I don't want to sound like a guy who over promises. And theoretically, all the risks that you're pointing, yeah, they of course they are in place.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And look, they had this much patience for a return. That's generally what I see with longer term guys. They're going to have to figure out what you guys are actually doing and what's being produced. So far, it looks all right. I don't know. Patience is what they've got, and that's generally how I see it with bigger money. Smarter money is patient in the space. I think that's pretty good to leave it on for GEO. I'm not sure if you want to get too much into ODIN. I think most of the details are online, but for ODIN, the market cap was somewhere around 1 million last time I looked, so it's still quite fresh. GeoDB was 7 mil.
It's still quite, yeah.
Yeah.
ODIN is still quite low. I mean, for us, to be honest, like I'm maybe it's a bit of the bear market, but we're a little bit of like surprise, because usually like now when you launch like like very committed, like so very technical project, we're really like following the roadmap, we're executing it, and the testnet has been like already launched. I think that we probably like just should give a little bit of more like exposure to ODIN, like to the technical community. But that's like that's the like our community, our investors know us very well. That we have been always like focused on the business execution. Like same for GeoDB. Some of the people are surprised. They say like, guys, it's impossible that you have 200,000 users like of your application. Nobody has like that. You should be already like billion valued project. We say like, well, go to Apple Store, go to Google Play Store, and you will see the number of downloads. Like I mean, we cannot invent those numbers. Like they're all real. And people like, wow, and like you're really like executing that well. But like we see that crypto market is very tough to understand. Sometimes people invest in like, I don't know, these crazy meme coins that they're like getting very excited. But we're really like we're very long term, and that's why we have chosen that the strategy with investors to also like with shares, with equity, thinking also onboarding those guys for long term with us, focus on execution, on bringing traction, and we think that in the long term it's the right strategy.
So that kind of leads us onto community and marketing. I'll just mention that ODIN was 1.25 million. That's what I saw on CoinGecko. So ODIN 1.25. It's a protocol. It's a fork of Band. Band protocol, but it's an oracle. So it has like big potential to grow. And you said you're hitting the roadmaps. Talking about the community, there's a reasonable community. You've got Telegram, Twitter, Discord. Was there?
Yeah, we have Telegram, Twitter, Discord. We have in GeoDB. It's not like for some reason that active as, for example, Telegram or Twitter. Twitter. I don't remember how many followers we
Do you
have,
have
but I
a
know that like
do you have someone that's managing these groups?
yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the good thing and the one like say a good word about our colleague Anand that you met before. That like he's been doing like amazing job basically while bringing like really community focused like projects. So basically what we started to do, we saw those people who really like care about us, and we have developed like a star program within our community. And like all those people who are like within our star program is just really like truly amazing people. Many of them like are professionals with like with very good jobs, very well educated people, but they just I don't know, they like the community, they like like the vibes, the mood they have inside, they like like supporting us. All of them are investors. Like we don't have like these guys, oh pay me $200, I'm gonna do this kind of things. I mean, we have like some like junior guys just for international communities, but the key, like like the heart of our community is like those, I would say, like GEO stars and GEO superstars that we have. And it's really like it's a big group of like very strong people who really like support us. We can rely on them. So we have really managed like to grow it like you know truly blockchain approach, like community focused. So
That's nice.
we did. Yeah, we never paid, to bring people to Telegram with those kind of like, or to Twitter. So we don't have any like, fake users there. So all the numbers you see like are super real. I mean, go for example to see our some tweets and like the interaction we have, or like in Telegram, the activity of the group. Community is something that we're really proud of.
And so can the community members do anything else to help spread the word? If I've got people watching and they want to get involved with the community, is it talked about within the groups? Like they can spread the word doing something for GEO, or I don't know. Like, is that part of the marketing process, the marketing plan?
Well, again, like the good thing is that usually like, okay, whatever some news now will appear, I know that like I don't even have to ask or give instructions because all of these guys will retweet, they will like share because they really care about the project. That's telling you it's like what is the true thing, what is the true cool thing, because
Yeah.
we have like a big group of people who really want to help us, who really feel like part of it. So you don't need to explain them, go chill here to there. So like it's happening very very organically. Like of course we do marketing campaigns. We were published in different like medias. Some were paid, but many were free. For example, I think that we never paid to Cointelegraph, never, and we had like 5 or 6 articles because really people were like the guys were approaching us and look, we're writing a material on that topic. Would you like to say something? So we never had like
cool.
very aggressive, very aggressive, like maybe articles
Marketing
about
campaigns.
us like this.
Yeah.
Selling we didn't have, but they were like we had quite a lot of mentionings, in the press.
All right. So there is stuff going on with the marketing, and at least you're getting approached as well. So if you wanted to, you could ramp it up a little bit more depending on, budgets and what you want to do there. Whether you want to keep it more organic or you want to ramp up the marketing. So there is a possibility. That's good to know because sometimes people get a little bit worried. The project's been going a while. Where are the funds? But at the moment, the community is pretty massive. So the guys can find all of those links. I'll leave all the links to this in the description of the video for your Telegram, Twitter, Discord, you said?
We'll share the links, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll share the links so you could share them. Thanks, Jason. Yeah.
No, of course. And then I'll put it on my Twitter as well. So I'll repost this so people can see that over there. I know you've got a good community over there. Yeah, I think we covered quite a lot. Is there anything you want to add to it? We looked at competitors as well. Sorry, I'll say that. We looked at competitors and what you can do there. In the crypto space, I don't really see any other competitors looking into the data. I could be wrong. But
well, there is, like, and again, we're really like super close friends, all of us. Like, if one of them is doing some sort of like online event or is invited, they invite, like us too. I mean, like Ocean, Streamer. There are, like several new other like smaller applications appearing. So, but it's all like, I love this industry really a lot. We don't like compete. We don't really. We always brainstorming. We go to different like sessions where we discuss together, how can be done like this. So that recently we were like arguing a lot. If I was against, the guys was for, what is like if NFT should help, like the data industry. So how are you going to fix NFT there? Come on guys, stop hyping. But so you see, like we do those kind of things. So we're really like trying to contribute, in a collaborative way.
Yeah, it sounds like it too, especially with the community that you've got growing there, and then also with the developers and the other crypto projects as well. So, yeah, anything else you wanted to add before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's all, Jason. And thank you for very good questions. I think you're doing it very well. So they're tough. It's really you're right. They were tough, and
I have to say thank you.
The community, like there was like he didn't send us anything like upfront to see what were gonna be the questions about. So really, it was super honest interview, which
I got you on the spot.
I liked a lot.
And I appreciate that.
I think you're doing a very good, fair job with your community, man. So
thank you, Alex.
Pleasure.
Thank you, and very big thank you to you. You know, there's a lot of projects. There's so many teams which are anonymous. You can't talk to them. You can't. They won't talk. It's AMA, so it's only behind the screen. You can't see them or anything. And, to come on without the questions, you had a bit of an idea. Like, people want to know about tokenomics and developers and whatnot. But yeah, thank you very much. You're very honest.
Pleasure, Jason. Pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Guys, if you're interested any further in GEO, the links are in the description down below for their Twitter, for, what have I said there? Twitter, Telegram, Discord, websites, everything's going to be down there if you want to know further about them and ask questions. We may have missed some stuff today which you're really interested in, and from what you can see today, they are more than willing to talk to you and let you know everything that you need to know about the project before investing. So check it out down below, and like the video up if you found some value from it. Subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys at the next one. Thanks once again, Alex. I'm sure we'll be back on again sometime in the near future.
Sure. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Ciao.
Cheers. Peace out. Ciao.
Bye.